I've been an iPhone user for a long time, and whenever I wanted to switch fully to Android, I kinda failed. So here's some of my main reasons why switching from iPhone to Android is an absolute nightmare. So this is ByteForge, and let's get to the video. Starting with, you guessed it, iMessage. iMessage is the most common way of communication between Apple users, and most of my friends who I talk to use an iPhone, so iMessage plays a crucial role here. Now you might say that iOS 18 brought RCS messaging, but it's not working properly and it's not even available here, so I couldn't really talk about it. But there are two failed attempts of adding iMessage to Android, which I'm gonna talk about, of course. The first one's called Beeper Mini, which obviously tried to bring iMessage to Android but ran into constant interference with Apple and they kept blocking it, so it was a failed attempt. Now the second one is pretty serious. It's from a company called Songbird. You might not heard about them, but it's behind the Nothing chats. You heard me right. Nothing, the company which makes the Nothing phone and the CMF. So what really happened? The thing is that they ran into serious security issues. The messages were sent over HTTP, so it wasn't secure, and the user data wasn't being protected properly, so it was a privacy nightmare. So it got discontinued pretty fast and we never heard about it anymore. Okay, now the second one is AirDrop. Believe it or not, there's not a single official way of letting you to AirDrop a file from an iPhone or any Apple product to an Android without using a third-party app. It's either so slow or it got tons of apps that just makes you to cancel the operation and use internet to send your files. And for Android, well, yes, there's a feature called QuickShare. Back in January 2024, with the introduction of the Galaxy S24 series, Samsung and Google did a collaboration. They somehow merged the Samsung QuickShare and the Google's Nearby Share and made a QuickShare. Same name, but it's now a single way of communication between Android and Android and Windows, of course, and boy, it is fast. I mean it is fast. But it still doesn't work with AirDrop, so you either have to use those crappy third-party apps or use internet, which is way more convenient than those. Because Apple is being Apple and AirDrop is exclusive to Apple devices. Okay, now the next part is software. Now let me start with this. Android got tons of customization. Like you could go deeper into the OS and do something that changes the whole feeling of your phone. Now the iOS 18 brings a lot of customization, which was on Android from the first day it launched. Like Control Center is now more customizable, or you get dark icons and such. But for me, the thing that makes my phone's software to be good and acceptable is animations and optimization. First optimization, then animations. And yes, the design matters, but to be honest, every OS looks good now. Apart from the Chinese, because those are... forget about them. Now, I don't say that iPhones don't lag, especially with the iOS 18, it got tons of lags and bugs. Now, I ain't gonna deny it, but it's less than Android phones. Like I've seen tons of lags and bugs on the S25 Ultra or, I don't know, the Android 16 on the Pixels. But the case with the Pixel is that Google uses a mediocre processor on Pixels, so we kinda saw it coming. And as for the animation, man, the animation on iOS is always amazing and one of a kind. Like, everything goes smooth and easy on your eyes, it's not too much. Now, we haven't still reached the point to say that the iOS 18 is the most fluid OS on a smartphone, but compared to its competitor like One UI 7, the lags, the bugs, the stutters are less aggressive. The developers got a long way to go, both for the iOS and Android. But do you know what's the reason that I said that iOS bugs are less aggressive than Android's? It's because that Apple developers got to work on one or at most two processors every year. But Google comes with 3 devices too. What's the reason then? It's the chipset, like I said. We got the Tensor G4, which is not fast and not powerful. Hopefully we see them getting better with the TSMC next year. Okay, now the next part is kinda similar to the software, but it's more related to the apps. And the apps design, of course. Now I don't know why, but the design of the apps on the iPhones, especially the third-party apps, look way cooler and nicer to me. You might disagree with me, which is completely okay. It's your opinion and it's respected. But one of the main reasons that I'm sticking to an iPhone is because of the app designs. Now let me show you. For example, check Telegram. I've been using Telegram for a long time. Now you might say that both on Android and iOS, Telegram looks the same, but the detail and the little animations and the looks and the blurs that iOS has on Telegram but Android doesn't, makes the Telegram for iPhone way more attractive to me. Now the thing is that many other third-party apps on Android may look faster because of the less animations and they're simpler and lighter, but I kinda prefer the animations and the looks more, especially if that's a social media app. I don't want it to be fast and furious. The animations, the feelings, the haptics, the blurs, I want them. Now, you know, the reason that apps look different from the iOS and Android is because of the tools and the APIs that companies provide for the developers, so they have to work on them to make the app. That's because on iOS, some apps like WhatsApp or some elements from Telegram look identical to iMessage. Don't let me get nerdy here, but I do like the apps on iOS more than Android. Okay, now the next part is camera. It's 2025 and so many companies and so many smartphones are getting better and better over time. Like for example, Samsung and Google, they are way better than before. But prove me wrong, up to this date, I've never seen an Android device that does all the basic camera stuff properly. But to be honest, iPhone does it, and has been doing it for a long time. Now it's mostly because of the optimization. Now, like I said earlier, there are lots of Android smartphone companies that release and launch so many smartphones with tons of processors. And believe it or not, it's hard to optimize this amount of phones. And other than the optimization, there's a thing that bothers me so much. It's the shutter lag. You want to take a photo from a fast moving object, so you take out your iPhone and take a bunch of shots. Boom, it's done. But on the Androids, if you take a bunch of continuous shots, it just freezes. And it's because of a different ways of processing. If you take a bunch of photos on iPhones, the process is being done in the Photos app. But if you do the same on Android, the process is being done inside the Camera app. And this exact thing is one of the main reasons that I don't switch to Androids. And I definitely hope that they get better over time. Okay, now the last thing that I'm gonna talk about, which may be different in other countries, is the resale value. So I'm gonna talk about the US mainly. If you buy an iPhone 16 Pro Max or I don't know, with the same price at $12.99, get the S25 Ultra and use them for a couple of years, then the newer models come out and you want to sell or trade in your phones, considering the fact that your phone is at the best condition possible, you'll get more money out of your iPhone 16 Pro Max. I don't know what's the main reason behind this, but probably iPhones are more luxurious for people. But yeah, iPhones keep resale value more than any other smartphones. Okay, now I talked about all my reasons that why I don't want to switch to Android for now at least. But please don't get mad at me because of the things that I've said. It's my personal opinion and it's probably different from yours. And your opinion is as respected as mine. But do you know what's not respected? The hates. Me personally, I don't like the people who hate on other people's decisions or the brands. We are not the same and we are not gonna be the same. But thanks for watching. This is Whiteforge and see you in the next one.